Well, in Tentsmuir we've got lots and lots of old historical features, and this is the Polish Army camp. There would be tents all over the place for the soldiers, the Polish Army, and there was also the Polish Parachute Regiment. And this here is the well for fresh water. Part of the coastal sea defences built in 1940. It's the observation tower, and it was also used as a Second World War command post, and it was again built by the Polish Army soldiers and the civilians that were in the area. And 100 yards from here was another observation tower, but we've got quite a bit of considerable erosion, and that fell into the sea Christmas 1998. And in between that was a concrete arrow, and that was used by the RAF to train the bombers. This is a Second World War narrow gauge railway wagon, and we found that after a vicious winter storm. It was found on the dune edge, about a quarter mile away up on the coast. The sand dune was plucked away by the sea action, and this was just left. So we've made it a feature timeline trail. So that was 2010 when we found it. There was a narrow gauge railway line went right around the coast, and it brought in supplies for the Polish Army and the RAF. The RAF used this for training their Spitfire and Hurricane pilots. This is the ice house. It was built in 1852. It gave the landowner an early refrigerator to store his fish, his sea trout and salmon, and it's now a hibernaculum. Bats use it, but it's a great way of demonstrating climate change. Just across the road, the track from this ice house was ponds, and it was called the Ice House Ponds. And when they cut the ice, apparently it was about up to 45 centimetres thick. We hardly get a couple of millimetres of ice forming on the ponds now. This is the Kinshaldy Marchstone, and it was erected on the dune edge in 1794, and the dune edge today is around about 750 metres. So we've gained a lot of land in that period. The Marchstone was erected to give the fishing rights to the landowner at the time, and it's a little bit difficult to see what it says, but it does say the march between the Shanwell and Ulmuir salmon fishing is a straight line from the top of Norman's Law to the low water. This Marchstone stands in said straight line, and Norman's Law is around about 11 miles away, just outside Newborough. Here we are on Tentsmuir Point, and this is the main part of the National Nature Reserve. It's a sand dune system, and we're standing beside these concrete tank traps. These were part of the World War II coastal sea defences, and they were built by the Polish Army and some civilians during 1940 and 1941. So they've been standing for a long time, and they're a brilliant timeline. They were set up on the dune edge on the foreshore. So from here to the foreshore now is about 600 metres. So that shows how well this land is grown. And when we think back to the raised beaches on the B945, the Tayport to St Michael's Road, we've come in about 2.5 miles, and it's just a fabulous place to come and see land building Seaward. Here we are at Morton Lochs. We're actually standing on the railway bridge, which was built in 1897 for part of the Burnt Island to Ferryport on Craig, which is the old name for Tayport. So this was a famous railway line at one time, but then the beaching cuts cut it away in the 1960s. Over here we've got a fantastic historical mark. It was an island in the sea, and this is where Mesolithic man was first discovered in Scotland 9,400 years ago. There's a lot of archaeological works carried out, especially by Reg Candow, and he was pioneering the sort of archaeological digs that they did back then in the 60s, I think it was, and they had about 30,000 artefacts found, mainly shell middens, but that's where we had the Mesolithic man.